Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Sunshine Coast Regional District regular board meeting of Thursday, September 23rd, 2021. I'd like to acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District operates on the traditional territories of the Seasheld and the Squamish First Nations, and we are coming to you as a board. Oh, wow, it seems weird, but we're coming to you from the boardroom located on the Seasheld Nation's traditional territories, and it's the first time we've met here as a board since March 17th, 2020. So that's it's a significant period, and as we move into this new phase of in a COVID-19 era, it's a little bit strange, but everyone else is going back to work in their traditional or in their regular spaces, so we are as well. So I'd like to call us to order here at just after 2 on this September 23rd. Before we adopt our amended agenda that's in front of us, I would like to just make a quick couple of comments about how grateful we are for the patience of our community as we've gone through a multitude of water restrictions throughout this summer. And we're so grateful to be back on stage one, and incredibly grateful to all of the community for all of their efforts in reducing water leaks, reducing water usage, and showing a true community spirit and working together to help us reduce our water consumption. And thank you so much to our water team and our entire team on the Sunshine Coast at the regional district and at the other local governments for working together and making this happen. So thank you all, and it's we still have a long ways ahead of us, and we're looking forward to seeing things move with water licenses and future water sources. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion, before I ask for a motion to adopt this amended agenda, are there any other items that directors or staff would like to add on? Director McMahon.
Yes, under new business, the Reconciliation Day.
Okay, so new business, Reconciliation Day. Perfect. Directors or staff, any other items that we need to add? Nope, we're good. Okay, so with that, may I ask for a motion to adopt this amended agenda, please? Director Kroll, seconded Director Seegers. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. I'm going to ask for a motion to receive all minutes, reports, communications, please. So moved Director Toth, seconded Director Kroll. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. So the first step on our agenda, we have the minutes of our regular board meeting of September 9th, 2021, Annex A, pages 1 through 11 of our package. Before we adopt these minutes, are there any errors or omissions, additions, subtractions that need to be done? Seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt the minutes of September 9th, 2021, please. So moved and seconded. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. It's this weird hybrid of looking at the people in the room and the people on the screen and trying to adjust your eyes quickly. So is there any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business, either from staff or from directors? Oh my goodness. Sorry, we still have Director Ties in our audience. So we're just going to bring him in. There we go. You're welcome. So funny because he's not in the audience in the room, but he was in the audience electronically. So for anyone's records, he is here with us as well. Any business arising from the minutes and unfinished business? I don't see anyone indicating such. We have no presentations and delegations today, but we do have a series of reports to go through. The first up, number 3 on your agenda, Annex B, pages 12 through 16 of your package, is the Infrastructure Services Committee recommendations number 6 through 14 of September 9th, 2021. Directors, would you like to pull out any of these recommendations to debate separately before we adopt these as a block? All right, may I have a motion to adopt the Infrastructure Services Committee recommendations number 6 through 14 of September 9th, 2021? So moved Director Kroll, seconded Director McMahon. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. Next up, 3A, the Corporate and Administrative Services Committee recommendations numbers 11 and 14 of earlier today, page 16A of your package, your amended agenda package. Directors, would you like to further debate either one of these recommendations before we adopt them as a block? May I have a motion to adopt the recommendations from earlier today? So moved Director Seegers, seconded Director Kroll. Any further discussion? I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. Next up, number 4 on your agenda package, Annex C, pages 17 to 18 of our package, is the placement of notice on title from our chief building official. So I'll go over to GM Hall, please.
Thank you, Chair. Section 57 of the Community Charter allows a building official to recommend that notice be registered on title where a condition is observed that contravenes a regional district bylaw, a provincial regulation, or another enactment. And so from time to time, staff bring forward a recommendation for that placement. And the report in front of you recommends placement for one property listed at the bottom of page 17. And we have Chief Building Official Alan Whittleton with us if there are questions about the file. Thank you.
Thank you very much, GM Hall. Mr. Whittleton, thank you for joining us. Also, I'll ask if the owner of the property is in the gallery as well or had requested to speak as well. I don't see in the gallery. Okay. Anyways, directors, questions for the chief building official? I see Director McMahon.
Right. I'm just curious, how do we communicate with the property owner in a case like this, and do we explain what notice on title means?
Yes, we do a series, a series of letters. In this case, there were also some notifications from our bylaw enforcement division. So the owners are well aware of this meeting today.
Thank you. And I've also got a note from our corporate services team that no request from the property owner to speak was received by legislative services. So just like to say that into the record that we don't have that request. Not seeing any other questions for the chief building official or other members of staff, so I'm going to look for a motion on the recommendation on page 17, please. So moved Director Toth, seconded Director McMahon. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Next up, we have page 18A to I, and this is the Office of the CAO monthly report, number 5 on your amended agenda package. So, CAO, over to you, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Happy to take any questions anyone has on the Office of the CAO monthly report.
Okay. Director McMahon.
Yeah, I was just wondering how notices go out in the case of the water main replacement work, because I read it in your report, but it's my area, so I didn't get a notice before I read your report, which came out the day after the first day of the water main replacement. So what's the procedure there?
I'd be happy to have GM Rosenblum speak to that if you're able, Remco.
Thank you very much, I do have some technical issues. If I leave suddenly, then everybody knows why. As far as I know, notices would be provided to anybody impacted. Usually, staff are doing that on door to door, and through the newspaper, and it's on our website. So, if there are actually people that have their water being shut off for a certain period of time, they will get notified. When that should be happening door to door. If that's not the case, then some things would need to be confirmed there.
Director McMahon, follow up?
Yeah, I'm just going to suggest that if there's a procedure that they flag that the area director should be brought to our attention, just in case we aren't watching the ads in the paper, and also the community association, because they have an email list and they're happy to send notices out to people.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, directors, any further questions for the Office of the CAO monthly report? Director Seegers.
Thank you. I notice on 18A and 18B, it's a list of the meetings that we as a board have had through UBCM. I'm wondering how the information on the meetings, so the feedback basically on the meetings, how that's going to be communicated to the public. I know the town of Gibson's has posted their meeting notes on their website, and it's in process of the district of Seasheld as well, and I'm wondering if that's something that the regional district could do.
I'd be happy to get back to you on that. I don't have an answer handy.
Thank you.
Director Kroll.
Thank you, Chair Pratt. Something that might help is, because many of the meetings were Team Sunshine Coast, it might make it a little easier for the regional district staff if we shared our respective notes from the district of Seasheld and the town of Gibson's with them, because at most of the meetings we were all there, so it would just hopefully save a little staff time.
I think a lot of that information was happening behind the scenes between our staffs. I will say that this is I don't remember us doing that in previous years. So this would be a new practice for us to report back to the community, because we've certainly discovered that we hear that we're not doing things on certain subjects. So it's good to always report back and say, look, like, these are the meetings we had, and these were the items we talked about, and this is what these were the people that were at the meeting. So so it would be a new practice. So I would look to, I'd look to the CAO if you can just move that forward as just a matter of staff, or if you want board to put any kind of motivation behind that.
Perhaps what I can suggest is let me get back to you on what it is we're actually doing and what it is we actually do, because unfortunately I don't have that information at my fingertips. And then based on that, that may compel the board to issue direction to do something in addition to that.
Terrific. Thank you, CAO. Okay, Director Lee.
Yes, I notice on page 18D at the top, it looks to me like we might be putting a siphon permanently in Edwards Lake. Is that a possibility?
I'd be happy to let Remco speak to that one. He'll do a way better job than me.
Thank you. What staff are currently considering is, and more information is to come there on October IC, is there a long-term benefit of siphon system at Edwards Lake as part of our emergency plan for the Chapman system? And more on that to come on the October IC meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure seemed like a good idea to me.
Terrific. Okay, directors, any further questions for the CAO or for his executive assistant? Even though I know she's listening, but or any other comments, CAO?
That's it from me. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, oh, sorry, Director Lee?
Yes, I'm always interested in bylaw, so on 18I, I noticed that we have a new bylaw officer starting in October. I believe that will give us a full complement of bylaw officers. Is that 2.5 we're going to have, or what is that FTE count?
I don't want to get this one wrong, and perhaps GM Hall can can help me out on this one. I think we're close. I'm not sure if we're all the way there.
Thank you. This moves us very close to our full complement, which I believe is 2.8. Thank you.
Thank you, GM Hall.
A follow-up?
Yes, of course, Director Lee.
It mentions that we'll be offering weekend coverage. Could you tell me what that would be?
Following budget approvals and board direction, we have moved to have a senior bylaw officer complete shifts on, I believe, both Saturdays and Sundays. And I apologize, I don't have the hours handy. Thank you.
I love good news. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Thank you very much, CAO and Executive Assistant Hinks, for the report. And next up, we have our communications. And the first up is the Office of the Premier letter dated September 10th, 2021. And it was regarding the request for the meeting that we, to discuss this. Director Toth would like to speak to this letter. So, Director Toth?
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, it's disappointing that we weren't able to get a meeting with Premier Horgan. One thing I did take note of during his address to UBCM was that he'd made reference to attending council meetings in communities. And having heard that, it immediately set a flag to me that maybe we should be inviting the Premier to attend a board or infrastructure services committee meeting so that we can talk about our water situation here directly with him, and he can take that back. And I do have a motion here, just some wordage. Yeah, if the board is interested.
Okay. How about we circle back to the motion in just a sec, because I've got a little bit of a speakers list. So Director Seegers?
Thank you. One of the things that was mentioned as well, and I want to make the public aware of this, during one of the, I think it was our meeting with the Minister of Municipal Affairs, was indicated that the province has now set up some meetings, cross-ministerial meetings at the minister's level and also at the staff level. So the ministers, for example, they're recognizing that dealing with homelessness and mental health, et cetera, crosses multiple ministries. So they actually have brought together Ministry of Health, Ministry of Municipal Affairs, Ministry of Mental Health and Addictions, and Ministry of Housing, Solicitor General and Housing, brought those together, meeting regularly scheduled meetings with the ministers, and then their more frequent meetings with their staff from each of those to look at how they can address these across the various ministries. And I mean, I know that's one of the things that we were looking at speaking with Minister Horgan about, you know, that we wanted to see some of those silos coming down at the province. So I'm happy to see that happen. And then also with two of the meetings that we had at the District of Seasheld, the topic did cover multiple ministries. So one meeting we had 2 ministries there, and another we actually had 3 ministers at that meeting. So it's actually coming into play, and it's really good to see. Thanks.
That's good news, Director Seegers. And certainly this was one of the speaking of, or cross-ministerial collaboration was one of the issues we actually did want to talk to the Premier about directly, which was, so it's unfortunate, but I'm glad to hear that it actually did happen at UBCM. It did not happen for the regional district meetings, even though many of our issues were cross-jurisdictional, as we all know they are. So I'm not seeing any other speakers to the letter, so I have a feeling that everyone's waiting on tenterhooks for the proposed motion that Director Toth has hinted at. So Director Toth, over to you, please.
Thank you, Chair. The verbiage I have written down here for a recommendation would be that the board write to the office of the premier to invite him to attend a future board or infrastructure services meeting to discuss SCRD water shortages and related issues on the lower Sunshine Coast.
Okay. Who would like to second that? I see 2 seconders, 3, 4. Do I hear 5? No. Yeah, Director Seegers.
Sorry, the only issue I'd have with the recommendation is, do we have to only talk about water? What if we were to talk about other things like highway and ferries and other, our solid waste? I don't know if it would be a bigger conversation or that would scare them away.
Yeah. Cross-ministerial collaboration, yes. Director Kroll.
Sort of in agreement with what Director Seegers was saying, that it would be probably work best to discuss issues facing the regional district, which would include the municipalities and First Nations for that matter.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it depends on how we want this request to look like going forward. Director Toth, back over to you.
Thank you. I would prefer us to keep it focused. We could invite him up here for a whole weekend and sequester him away somewhere and really tell him how we feel. But I have a feeling that we wouldn't hear from him if that was the request. So I think, the number one most urgent issue for us right now on the Sunshine Coast is water. Even though we are into fall, summer will come again. And I think it's important that we keep going after this issue, even though it is raining.
Director Kroll?
Thank you, Chair Pratt. I would also suggest that we include in that invitation that our MLA attend the meeting.
Okay. So right now, the motion that's on the floor suggests just water. Okay, so am I hearing an amendment for, I'm not hearing an amendment there. I would like to put the cross-ministerial collaboration, because I really think that speaks to the leadership of an organization when you set the tone for how the rest of your ministries work. So I think that really comes from the office of the premier. So that would be a specific conversation, because that's one thing we found with our water issue is the cross-ministerial nature of some of these things that need to be done in getting the water licenses, like between Modi and MER and First Nations consultation, as well as with Flynn Road, and that's one of the stumbling blocks that we've had. So I'd like to, if somebody would like to propose that as an amendment, or I will propose that as an amendment to also discuss cross-ministerial collaboration, because I think it fits in with that. So, Director Kroll, you'd second that? Okay. So to the amendment of also addressing cross-ministerial collaboration in that conversation, Director Toth?
Yeah, that seems reasonable. SCRD water shortages, cross-ministry collaboration, and other related issues. I felt that the other related issues sort of captured just about anything that we wanted to talk about regarding water, but
Fair enough.
we can be more specific.
Okay. Anyone else to the amendment that's on the floor? Yeah. All right. Sometimes I have to say that chairing a meeting in person is very similar to on the screen. Sometimes you feel very alone and quiet in your corner, as we all get used to being in the same rooms together. I'm going to call the question on the amendment on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment? Thank you. Okay, so on the amended motion, Director Hiltz.
Well, I guess we think we're going to get a different response. Is that what we're thinking? And maybe what about, so we're thinking we're going to have Premier Horgan in our standing committee or board committee. That's what we're hoping for. Or a designate. could he send someone else on his behalf? Or, do we have to, I'm going, how can we encourage him or someone of his office to come? Are we only interested in hearing from the Premier?
He was pretty clear in his opening statements at UBCM that he has attended and he is,
Okay.
and he is open to this. So let's
Okay, all
extend
right,
the,
okay.
let's extend the
Gotcha.
invitation.
Good, thanks.
And the worst that he's going to say is no. Like, really. So I'll make cookies if need be. Yes, Director Hills.
In his address to UBCM, he was attending for information or to discuss issues. So how was he attending?
This was as, in his position as Office of the Premier, making his remarks at the end of UBCM. So so he had his talk, and then he also answered questions. So he had a general overview of everything that was going on in the province, and then he was also there was a question and answer period, and I can't remember whether or not the statement actually came up in his opening remarks, or whether or not it was his question and answer. Yes, Director Seekers.
I think what Director Hiltz is asking is it a particular topic he came for? Like, why, was he just there as a delegation? Was he there just to view? I don't think that was actually clarified in the comments he made. He did mention that, he pointed out to somebody, and you could see it online if you want, yes, and I've even attended one of your council meetings. It was kind of like that. So what did he go for? No idea.
Yeah. So I have Director Lee, and then back to Director Kroll.
We were just kind of chuckling over here, wondering about what the format would be that we're inviting him to. Would we make him wait till the end of the meeting and talk up?
I am happy to meet on the Premier's schedule. Honestly, if he's going to come to a meeting, let's whenever, wherever. I think it's great. Director Kroll.
Thank you, Chair Pratt. Would we be willing to accept his attendance electronically?
Yes. Sorry. Would we? Yes. Yes. But if he were to attend in person, we would leave him, you'd be able to take SCRD parting gifts with him, like we'd find him a mug and maybe a mask.
But no water.
But no water. Okay. Are there any further discussions on this motion that's on the floor? I would say this really ties in very well with our advocacy piece on our strategic plan. So this is something that we as a board can do. And we don't just have to limit it to inviting the Premier in. Because we are in this electronic world, let's make the most of it, because it is a really great way to bring in presenters or delegates or ministers or other politicians of other levels into our meetings and into our world, and have one-on-one, or one-to-one, or conversations with them. So let's use it however we can. And if they want to come here to the coast, let's bring them in. So with that, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the amended motion on the floor? Thank you. Motion carries. Okay. All right. The next up, we had a communications from the town of Gibsons. Any questions or, I would like to, I'd like to move that we send a letter of thank you back to the town of Gibsons in regards to providing the funding for towards the fire protective system at the Seasheld Aquatic Center. So I'd like to make that as a motion that we send it, and I see a seconder. Director McMahon.
Should we thank them for water while we're at it, or have we already thanked them for that, or sent them a nice card?
Why don't we do that as a separate motion, because it's not germane to the motion that's on the floor. So, Director Seekers.
Thank you. I just want to let you know that at the Committee of the Whole meeting on Wednesday, District of Seasheld also said we would contribute funds towards that from our COVID Safe Restart funds. So it still has to go through, council and whatever, but that should then be coming forward within the next few weeks.
Terrific. And at that time, we will make a motion to thank you as well. That's great news and very, very much appreciated, as we know, regional districts did not receive the same portion of funding as municipalities did with the Safe COVID Restart Funds. So with that, I will call the question on sending a letter of gratitude to the town of Gibsons in regards to the funding. All those in favor? Oh, okay. It's a corporate, so yes. Okay. Thank you, motion carries. Also, I'm hearing, I would agree with Director McMahon. It would be prudent of us to send a letter of thank you to the town of Gibsons for the water. I'm not sure how we would, for the working together and the, regarding water supply and the provision of water over stage 4. So I would, yes, Director Kroll?
I was just going to say it's a two-way street. There was a period back in Gibson's, I think it was 2005, where we had a water issue. We were on a boil water order, and the District of Seasheld provided us water during that period and sufficient water to flush our complete system. So, it is a two-way street, and we need to keep that in mind.
District of Seasheld did, or the regional district
The
did?
regional district.
Okay.
No, so it's okay. We'll credit them too. I just wondered how we did that. Well, it's all the same pipe. It just flows backwards. But it is an example of the collaboration, and it'd be pretty mean to withhold water. But it is. We've had
Yeah.
water from the regional district, so it's
Yeah.
very much a.
It was very much appreciated, and I mean, the working together with the uncoupling of the system, or the conscious uncoupling of the system, I'm sorry, I'm going to be using that term for a while because it's very good. But Director McMahon, did you want to make the motion to send a thank you? Okay, Director McMahon, seconded by Director Seegers. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. And we're very, very grateful. And working together is how we make things better for everyone. So with that, I don't see any other comments on the communications. We have no motions today, but we got bylaws. So item 8 on our agenda, Annex F, pages 23 to 24 of our package. And this is for Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.193 2021. And we are looking for first and second reading at this meeting. And this will be voting for electoral area directors only at 1 vote each. So may I have a motion for first reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.193 2021, please? So moved, Director Ties, seconded by Director McMahon. Director McMahon?
Never mind. I thought it said Area F, but it did not say Area F. Ignore me.
Okay. Very good. I'm not seeing any further discussion on this, so I'll call the question for the electoral area directors only. All those in favor of first reading, please. Thank you. Motion carries. And next up, I'll ask for a motion for second reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.193 2021. So moved, Director McMahon, seconded Director Ties. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. All right. So with that, we have moved down to our director's reports. And I really enjoy the volunteer system of director's reports. And so who would like to go first? Director Toth.
Yeah, go first, get it out of the way. So we've been fairly quiet because of UBCM, which I think most people here attended as well. But yesterday we had both a special council meeting and a committee of the whole meeting. So in those two meetings, we've finally authorized the signing of a design build contract for our new operations center. So that's going to be our parks and public works staff. Substantial completion for that is November 30th, 2022, and staff don't expect there to be any issues meeting that date. So hopefully it'll be full steam ahead on that project finally. Our crews have been working out of tents and trailers for 7 years now, coming on 8. Yeah. So it's about time we get them, out of the cold, so to speak. We also, as a council, approved tree harvesting plans for 4.3 hectares at the airport. We've got some areas where trees are hindering the approach for larger planes. And while we're there harvesting, we're going to clear a little bit more space for future hangars as well. So a little bit more opportunity. That harvesting that we do, the funds from that actually are required to stay with the airport due to the nature of our lease there. So, as Director Seegers mentioned, we did approve the SCRD request for COVID-19 restart funds for the Aquatic Center heat detection system. So the letter and funds will be coming shortly. We've started a remuneration review process for mayor and council. We're looking at doing an independent committee, sort of the same way that the SCRD here has done it. We had some conversation about, the timeliness of it as we're entering sort of the last year of our term. We do want to make sure that this is something we're not seen to be doing for ourselves, but for the next council, and to look at increasing participation in the process and in governance, making it more accessible to people. And our committee of the whole endorsed a request from our chief building official to have a conversation about mandating grey water reuse within the district of Seasheld on new builds and substantial renovations. So we're also going to be inviting Gibson's and the SCRD to participate in that process. It makes sense for the regulations to be level across the coast, and there is, if we're given permission to proceed down this path, there is going to be a cost associated with it because the province has to do, review work and data analysis and stuff like that before they can approve it. So it's expected that, if this goes forward, it could add around $6,000 to the cost of a new residential build. But if or when, the regional district moves to metered water, it could have an ongoing savings for somebody in perpetuity. So I think that's really all I have to report. Certainly all I took notes on. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Director Toth. Director Ties.
Thank you, Chair. Well, it's been a busy couple of weeks, even though I did not attend UBCM, but I did attend a number of minister meetings, and so that was interesting and fun. We did the strategic plan review, and so thank you to staff for doing that. I thought that was a meaningful meeting, as well as we also met with the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure for a quarterly meeting, and I'm happy that we get some FaceTime with those guys on a regular basis now. I want to thank our CAO, Dean McKinley, for attending my Roberts Creek OCP committee, and I'm grateful he was there because some waves needed to be quelled after two public hearings that went sideways a little bit. I was quite upset about that, but in the aftermath, I think everyone will be stronger and better, and we'll get these processes bulletproof and make sure that going forward that we have some public hearings that will be smooth going forward. So I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Director Ties. And just to follow up on that, we do have a board workshop that'll be happening next week. That's been planned by our senior leadership team to help the directors just kind of review processes and everything as well. So to help make us stronger too for when we're chairing, because the last one was a little, it got a little challenging at times, so to chair, and it's always good to have a refresher, and So that'll be good. So watch in your calendars. It should be there for next week, just to review. So Director Kroll, or I guess I should say alternate Director Kroll, but why Director Kroll?
Thank you, Chair Pratt. I think a lot of the stuff, the UBCM meetings, I think they were really important. I did attend one at our request to the town of Gibson's with BC Hydro. And, there's this huge push, electric cars, electric buses. And one of the questions I brought up with them is, where is this power coming from? We've had indications from other groups like BC Ferries that their power requirement alone would be a Site C dam. So, where's the power going to come from? And to that end, he said sort of solar and wind. I questioned that they're not pursuing tidal and current more. Northern Scotland is using tidal power, and they're powering 60 or 20,000 homes with one unit. So he said the technology is too expensive at the moment, but when you look at the greenhouse gas emissions in building a Site C, it's there has to be a trade-off there somewhere. So it was an interesting dialogue. The push was towards solar and wind, as I mentioned. I suggested that they come up with more incentive programs, sort of like the PACE program, and I don't know whether you're familiar with that. It's where the purveyors of services and infrastructure actually finance the project completely, and then it's paid back through taxation. So the charges go against your property tax as a levy, and it's paid off through the building or the structure that's improved, not alone on the part of the individual. They were vaguely familiar with the PACE program, but said they would look into it more. The other thing, the town of Gibson's, we had a proposal come to council for the city's race to zero, which is an initiative of, ideally they want 1,000 municipalities, regional districts, towns, cities, whatever, coming forward as a single voice at the COP conference in Glasgow in the end of October. So that's coming up before council again. We're doing reviews of our DPA 1 and probably DPA 2, and it was suggested strongly that ours align with the regional district and other communities. So the building community has one deck of cards to play with, rather than, oh, what side of the line am I on? What deck am I playing with? So that's sort of on the radar. We passed it was basically a financial thing towards the CAT committee. Mayor Seegers and I both sit on the CAT committee. Chair Pratt, you sit on it. And they've come up with a program that starts this week to try and take the stigma away from substance use. And to that end, they've have 6 individuals who've written stories to sort of put a personality to how they got to where they are. Sierra, who's the chair of the CAT committee or director of the CAT committee, is placing these as ads so they don't get edited. And to give them credibility, I suggested that the town of Gibson's, sign on as a sponsor to support the publishing of these ads. So council approved that, and it qualifies for COVID funding. So it's paid out of COVID funding to help destigmatize substance abuse, and also the homeless situation, because they're sort of interlaced. So I was really pleased that that came through. One of the issues we're having in the town of Gibson's is fun with RVs. There's currently virtually no capacity in the existing facilities for people. So we're getting, construction workers coming to the coast to work on projects, nowhere to park, so they're parking on streets. And, they do the 72 hours and then they move, and so Bylaw's chasing them around. We have a few, so I think it's probably going to become a bigger issue on the coast as the homeless situation increases, and there's a need for workforce people. And a lot of them do have RVs because they're used to traveling to work. So just something to put on the radar. We're trying to come up with something that hopefully might work. We'll see. We're doing a strategic plan review coming up next week. So again, there'll be concerted effort to align it with the regional district and the district of Seasheld, so we're on the same page. Yeah, I think that's about it for us right now. Thank you.
That's a lot. Thank you, Director Kroll. All right, who's next? Director Hills. You just beat Director Seegers.
Thanks, Chair. It's great to be back at the table. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying. I'm deriving a little bit of energy from this and going to get through to December 31st. Right, that's where I'm going to go. So it's nice to be back. So, in person. The Gibson District Library Board has resumed meeting after their summer break, so September 13th was their first meeting, and they're continuing to meet virtually as a board. And WASAC, the Water Supply Advisory Committee, was on September the 13th. This was an unusual meeting in that we didn't meet quorum on this meeting. There was some good discussion, but no decisions made. Constituencies, people were interested in the Roberts Creek public hearing, and from Area F, people were wondering what's going on with it, and so Coast Reporter article was really good at explaining it too, so referring people to the Coast Reporter article. Other constituency issues, I guess Airbnb continue to draw people's attentions with parking particularly, so on the places that have steep hills. And so people are still going, what are we going to do with it in the future? So it's an ongoing issue. The West Howe Sound Community Association is getting ready to do an in-person meeting on October the 12th, which will be their first in 2 years, I suppose. And the curbside recycling. I think people have acknowledged the difficulties and they feel that it's we're over the hump. And I kind of refer to, if you've been following the New Orleans situation, if you think that we had a curbside problem, New Orleans, it's apparently a nationwide issue with people to pick up waste in the U.S. It's really quite an awful situation. If you want to find out about the bad side of not having curbside pickup, go to New Orleans now. So that's it. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Director Hiltz. Over to Director Seegers, please.
Thank you. Let me find my calendar here. Okay. Who do I want to talk about? Particularly for the District of Seasheld, Town of Gibson's SCRD, we all belong to Island Coastal Economic Trust. The executive director has given notice, just to let you know. She's retiring probably midway through next year, so the process is starting to find her replacement. So you might want to convey that to Mayor Beamish as well, so he's aware of that. And let me move on to the next week. Skateboard park reopening. So the Rotary Club in Seasheld worked with, primarily they took the lead. Our Public Works and Parks people helped, but they cleaned out the blackberries and painted and fixed some concrete, put in, I don't know, some metal bar thing. I don't know what they called it. And then they had an opening on the 12th, the Sunday afternoon. Poured rain on the Saturday. Sunday was beautiful, sunny. They had food there. They had some special guests, and it was really great to see all ages. There were little kids, probably like just walking, 3 years old, with the little bike with no pedals, right? Those and the little scooters and things, and they were up and down and back and forth. It was a lot of fun. They had music and everything there. So thank you to the Rotary for taking that on and making that a great place to be. Monday, the 13th, I attended the Municipal Insurance Association of BC, AGM, and with the technology, being able to do the virtual, I also attended the all candidates meeting because there was just a little bit of an overlap at the beginning. So I did that. It was great to see. And as you know, our current MP has been reelected, so he's back in. Still looking at dealing with the mail-in ballots, but that should be final probably by the end of the day today. What else have I got in here? Wood Expo. The Community Forest held their Wood Expo on Saturday the 18th. And one of the things that they did was they bucked some wood and actually raffled off a bin full of firewood. So everybody who came got to put their name in to have that drawn. So it was drawn on Saturday. I don't know who the winner was, but that happened, and it was great. They actually had it there. On the 20th, Downtown Business Association board meeting. They are having Oktoberfest this coming Saturday. So actually all week this week, the restaurants in Seasheld will be having specials, different types of, special items that you can eat on their menu that tie into the theme. And then on Saturday is Oktoberfest. It's going to be at Rockwood this year. So there'll be the farmers market downtown. Rockwood will have the Oktoberfest celebration. So join in, come check it out. What else have I got? Ribbon cutting at West Seasheld Elementary School. So I went to that. It was great to see all the kids. They all lined up in the parking lot out front, and then we got cupcakes at the end. So that was nice. What else have I got? Oh, we are starting budget at the District of Seasheld. So we have scheduled meetings with the various groups. We had a meeting with the Downtown Business Association yesterday with their asks for the budget. And the next up are the community associations. So they start next week. There's going to be meetings with them where they'll come forward with their wish list. And in previous years, by the time it got to council, we'd have like a line item, and we didn't really know what the background was. So we've requested to be included in that this year. So we're actually attending those meetings with staff. So when they make their pitch about what they want, we'll actually have more information so that when we actually deliberate on that, we'll know what we're going to be talking about. I wanted to mention a couple of things that came up in our Committee of the Whole meeting. So at the Committee of the Whole meeting, we had our second quarter department progress reports. And in our planning session, or the planning section of that, they talked about some of the developments that are coming forward in Seasheld. Because one of the big pushes on the coast here is around rental housing. So we have one project that is now going to public hearing. It's on ebb tide. It's going to be 28 rental units. We had TELUS come to us in the past couple weeks with a request to proceed report. They are talking about 55 to 60 rental units on Inlet Avenue, so again in the downtown core. Community Services is moving their project forward. That is for women and children, housing, special needs housing for women and children. I forget the number of units that they're doing, but it's going to be 6-story unit, 4 floors of housing. We've got the Lions Group who will be coming forward in the next couple of weeks for their building permit. They actually were at the process where they could have come for their building permit. Because of the cost increases for construction, BC Housing required that they go back and re-tender the project to see if they could find some cost savings in that. So I don't know what the result of that was, but we're told that that's done. They're going to be coming forward with that in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see lots of building going on there. Another one is Wharf Avenue. We're going to be doing some sidewalk and road improvements along the side where Batch 44 is. We are just waiting for some final comments back from Ministry of Transport. Given that that's abutting the highway, they had a few more comments they wanted us to incorporate. So that should be going out to tender soon, looking at having that complete before spring. Final pieces are being done to Trail Avenue work. So this coming Saturday is the start of the active transportation weeks. And so staff have set up a Ride with the Mayor session. And it started out being from Kinnickinnick, coming over and down Mason Road and to Cowrie. Now it's 9 kilometers. It starts at the Municipal Hall, goes up to Kinnickinnick, and then around and back down. So I bought an e-bike. Thank God I bought an e-bike, because I would never have done that otherwise. So it starts at 11 o'clock. If you're interested, come and join us. I have no idea. I think it might be riding by myself, but the other thing this weekend is the electric vehicle festival. So there's lots happening in that corner. Electric Vehicle Festival at the Seasheld Elementary School lot, the Farmers Market, Oktoberfest. Downtown's going to be buzzing. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Sorry. Oh my. I'm looking forward to, I don't have a bike, so I'm just going to put it out there, but I'm really looking forward to watching. I wanted to just check, is this the last weekend for the farmers market?
Yes.
It is, yeah, the last weekend in September. So lots of stuff going on. So that's it's going to be a big full weekend in downtown Seasheld. So great. Okay, I have Director Lee and then Director McMahon.
Thank you, Chair. It's been really quiet, actually, with all the UBC stuff going on. Pretty much all we can have time to do is attend those. I enjoyed it. The ministers were quite engaging and quite knowledgeable, everyone that I listened to. But I was especially impressed with Josie Osborne and Municipal Affairs. I think we have quite an ally there and a person that really understands and is willing to talk to the other ministries on our behalf, which I think we had missed an opportunity before to use that to engage the other ones. So, you know, everybody knows she was mayor of Tofino, chair of their RD, and she's really big time into sustainable development, really a knowledgeable, well-spoken lady. The other thing is I attended one of the breakfasts, and they talked about gray hydrogen, blue hydrogen, green hydrogen, and I went away with my head kind of spinning because I never even knew what those things were. Like, I thought hydrogen all burnt one color. But it turns out that gray hydrogen is derived from natural gas, and if they use the wrong process, it makes a ton of CO2. So it's quite dirty. But blue hydrogen uses similar processes, but it captures and stores the CO2, so it's a little bit better. But green hydrogen is really the right thing to do. They use electrolysis to separate water into hydrogen and oxygen. The only problem is, so if you're using renewable electricity, you know, like hydro, solar, wind, it doesn't do any pollution. And of course, following up on David's and just trying to run the ferries on electricity, you can see you need some sort of other fuel to do that. And industry is proposing hydrogen as the interim. But the green hydrogen is 2 or 3 times more expensive than the blue to produce. So they know what they should do, but cost, like usual, is always the problem. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that I called it closing remarks by the Premier, but they call it an address by the Premier. So Horgan had closing remarks, and I stayed and I watched it. It was Friday, But what was very refreshing was he had an open forum, question and answer. And I wasn't expecting it, or I would have had some questions ready. But that's the first time I've seen that. And he sure did handle them well. He very clear, plain-spoken gentleman. So that's my report. Thank you.
And that's why we're inviting him into our house. Yes, that's why. That's the only reason why. No, Director McMahon, over to you, please.
Right. Well, I too went to UBCM. I particularly enjoyed the presentation about the heat dome and the suggestions from the Mayor of Ashcroft about how to get ready for future heat domes. And we need to prepare because this is going to happen again. And the time to prepare is now, not when it's happening. So I just wanted to comment that, you know, we are represented at MIA-BC and the MFA, but we never hear very much about them. the Finance Authority and the Insurance Association. And I would be interested in learning a little bit more about how they operate and yeah, how they're funded. They're unique in Canada, and that's pretty cool. But we should blow our own horn a bit there, because I think they're a valuable asset that many people don't know about. I attended PMAC. OBINA, the Ocean Beach Esplanade Neighborhood Association, had a meeting with Modi about their various traffic and parking problems, which I didn't attend, but I did get a follow-up on it. I attended the Chamber of Commerce and Scredo. There's been the bypass study that Modi is doing has come up several times in different venues. So far, nobody is clear on either the scope or the process that's taking place. And, you know, basic questions like, what are we bypassing exactly? So we're hoping for some more clarity on this in the future. And if nothing is forthcoming fairly soon, maybe we should, you know, make a motion through the board to ask Modi to come and talk to us about what they're doing, because apparently they're engaged in a consultation that nobody seems to know about, which is really interesting. So I attended the Elphinstone Community Association last night, and as all of you know, but I will say again, I am teaching a course on regional districts for Elder College. It starts on Tuesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 4 Tuesdays from 2 to 4. The best way to learn something is to have to teach it. So I've had to do a great deal more homework than I ever anticipated, but yes, I have learned something. And I hope lots of other people learn too. It is a highly opinionated introduction to regional districts, so I may get the facts wrong, but I'm going to deliver on the opinions. Thank you.
I was just going to say, you may get the facts wrong, but the opinions will be right. And it's just mic drop right after Director McMahon. I don't know why I even try to talk. Anyways, MFA and MIABC, thank you for bringing that up, because I have had a couple of meetings, and what I'll do is I'll put it in that, as I said earlier, that letter from the report from the chair. I think that's probably maybe the best place for it at this time, is probably a report back, but that, as we said earlier in CAS today, you know, it's a reporting back piece, like, you know, when we're talking about our advocacy and what we've done and all of that, it's closing the loop on how we do things, so and making sure that we're communicating back. So I will make sure that that's part of that. I've made that as part of my notes. I don't have much more to add than I was at a lot of the same places that the rest of you were, electronically anyways. We did have a Ferry Advisory Committee meeting. Was that only just last week or the week before? About a week and a half ago. Just to review some of the communications that's coming out from BC Ferries and and just talking about how we want to go forward. So it was just the Ferry Advisory Committee members, not any representatives of BC Ferries. So so there's not a lot to report. I don't have minutes from that yet, so when we get that, we'll circulate, of course. Attended the Half Moon Bay Environmental Association AGM, which was in person in Cooper's Green Park. So that was neat because it was in the summer and we were able to do it outside on a beautiful day. Another thing that happened this summer, this is what I did this summer, is the Half Moon Bay, before mandates changed, provincial health orders changed, there was the Half Moon Bay Community Association hosted the Seaside Shuffle. And I can't remember what date it was, but it was an amazing event with live music and a lot of people, a lot of food vendors, and I have never seen Cooper's Green Park that full. It was packed, and so it was a little, because our mask mandate had just changed here in BC, it was a little bit odd to be out and about without masks, and of course we've gone back to a mask mandate, but it was a really good event, and yeah, so a few other meetings like that off and on through the summer is meeting with constituents and talking to people and answering emails about water and phone calls about water and reading Facebook posts about water. So a couple of things, just noticing, it's in talking about communication again, and, but, just some emerging issues that are coming up, discussing about how we report back to our community, how rural directors report back to their community, how municipal directors report back to their councils. That's, I'm want to talk about that going forward with the municipal directors and the rural directors, and it's one of those things that's kind of really been percolating a bit, is about how we as individual directors are communicating with our residents and our constituents, and what's working well for everyone. And I know we didn't really talk. It's because it's almost separate than our board business, but it's part of our community outreach. With that, I'm going to end my director's report and move on to new business, where we have Director McMahon and wish to speak about Reconciliation Day. Director McMahon.
Yes, the province has just created a new, I think it's a holiday, Truth and Reconciliation Day on September the 30th. And I wanted to know if the SCRD, if we are doing anything. Sorry?
You just covered your camera.
Yes, I just covered my camera. It's getting towards the end of the day. I'm wondering if we are doing anything as the STRD, and also the other, our fellow municipalities, if there are any plans afoot.
Okay, so first off, I'll go to CAO, if you'd like to tell us.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the question, Director. We've got a few things planned, but it is opportune that you're bringing this up, because there's a couple of things that the board may wish to do to supplement those. Our plan from a staff perspective to our staff was to encourage the wearing of orange shirts during the week of September 27th. We were going to be supporting, I know that, and I can't say the words properly, but the Kamloops First Nation, I always get their pronunciation wrong. They have shared a video and a song that they've developed that they're hoping people would take some time to learn and to drum at during the 2:15 p.m. Pacific time on September 30th. We're going to be sharing that with our staff and encouraging them to learn it. The other thing, though, if the board wishes to direct it, is staff could lower our flags to half-mast for the date of September 30th as well. I don't know if anyone else was aware of other things that we had planned from a staff perspective.
And I do know that there is a statement that's coming from the CAO and the chair in regards to Reconciliation Day.
Yes, sorry, I forgot about that one. Thank you.
Director Tice?
Well, I like the idea of the half-mast thing, but maybe also I don't know if the directors would be willing to convene and wear orange and do a group picture to commemorate the day.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. We do have a meeting 2 days prior that we can do the picture, so that way the picture can be on, but if we wanted to convene on that day as well. I really like the idea of the half-mast. Our flags at half-mast? Sure. Sorry. Director Seegers?
Thank you. It's actually a federal holiday, right? Which means it's a statutory holiday. So if it's, I mean, I know our staff in our contract indicates, like our union contract indicates that they are off on all statutory holidays. So we'll be closed. District of Seashell will be closed that day. I believe the regional district will be as well. So we could come here, but nobody else will be here. I have not reached out to Chief Paul. I know that they have had a couple of elders die in the last week. They also have had a positive case on the reserve as well. So I don't know what their protocols are right now, and so I don't know what they're doing and whether or not that is something that, given the situation, would be open to the public. So I thought I'd kind of wait till the end of the week here to reach out and find out what their plans are, because some of them may have gotten derailed because of things happening. District of Seashell, we have not finalized anything yet. That's still something that there are some, as CAO here said, there's a number of projects that have been contemplated, but nothing finalized yet.
Director Kroll?
Thank you, Chair Pratt. I trying to remember if it's been officially in the paper, but Gibson's did put in an orange crosswalk.
Yes.
And it's received a lot of positive comment. I would reiterate something else that Gibson's has done is we're the first town in the province to declare a national healing forest. Mm-hmm. And I think on the Sunshine Coast, when you look at what surrounds us in abundance, there's opportunity to do that. We layered it on existing infrastructure. So from a town point of view, it was something we were going to protect anyway. So it just added another layer. But what it has done, the Squamish Nation were really impressed with the fact that we did it on our own. They didn't have to come say, what are you going to do? We did it. And talking to staff yesterday, they said, the dialogue that they've had with the Squamish Nation since that declaration has been very positive. So I would encourage, we have some amazing areas on the coast to add another layer to an existing park or forested area would be a welcome addition to the project.
CAO?
Thank you. Just two more quick updates, and thank you, Shelley, for reminding me. So the office will be closed on Reconciliation Day. The rec centers will be closed. Transit will be operating as usual.
Okay. Thank you, CAO McKinley. So we do have a CAS meeting on the 29th. So I would suggest to directors that be our Orange Shirt Day, because that's the day that we're meeting, the next day that we're meeting that's closest. So to wear orange, either orange ribbon or orange shirt. So I don't think we need to make that as a motion, but for lowering the flag, we do. So, or do we? We can just instruct you without a board motion? Okay. Sherry, can you lower the flag, please, on September 30th in recognition of Reconciliation Day? Director Hiltz.
Is that Field Road or all SCRD facilities?
Do we need to, I think this is the only facility that we have the flag at, is it not? Because the flag that's at SAC is District of Seasheld. The flag that's at the Pender Harbor Pool is school district. Fire stations, I don't know if they have flags. We'll reach out, okay. But we don't need to have, which is good because I started crying during the motion, so I got emotional, so.
Where's GM Parker for the equivalent of a board chair dad joke?
Hey, this is a board chair mum joke. Anyways. Okay, Director McMahon, anything else on Reconciliation Day? Other directors, anything?
Yeah, just real quick.
Yes, Director Toth.
Thank you. My wife and I were trying to figure out if there was anything going on for Reconciliation Day that we could close our store and participate in. And I know that she did reach out to somebody within the Seasheld Nation, and they had expressed that with the things that are going on for them right now and within the last week or two, they're going to be doing something, but it's going to be virtual. They're not having an in-person gathering this year for this. So.
Okay, great. So with that, that brings us to the end of our agenda for our regular meeting. We will be going in camera. So we're going to make the motion to go in camera and then check and see if we have any questions from our audience or that have come in electronically. So I'm going to ask for a motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 91A, F, G, I, and K of the Community Charter, please. So moved and seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Any questions that have come in from the electronic world?
Should ask Gallery if there's any questions.
Yeah, gallery, any questions? Questions? All right. I'm going to, so anyone that is not within us in the boardroom, do you need a couple of minutes just to adequately secure your privacy for the next portion of the meeting? Well, we need to put a sign on the door, so we'll give you a couple of minutes to, but only like briefly because it's a very short agenda, so. And welcome back. You have rejoined us at the regular Sunshine Coast Regional District Board meeting of September 23rd, 2021. And with that, our last item of business today is to adjourn. May I have a motion to adjourn? So moved, Director Seekers, seconded Director Kroll. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. Have any further questions come in from the audience? Or the gallery? Gallery? No. Okay, it's just echoing here. Okay, thank you all, everyone. It's so good to be back in here together. It's really strange, though. It's odd. I'm glad.